Greetings, film freaks. We are the Podcorn Kernels. Join us as we discuss the hard and often indigestible truths that are at the center of the fluffy and delicious world of cinema. Season 2.
What's poppin', people? Welcome to the Podcorn Kernels podcast. My name is Adam, and joining me in your earholes is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Here at the Podcorn Kernels, we believe in honest and fair marketing, and with that in mind, and I'm very proud to be associated with them, here's a message from our sponsor. Average carpets.
On today's episode, we will be talking about Roadhouse. This is a 2024 film directed by Doug Liman and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Daniela Melchior, and Conor McGregor. IMDb describes the synopsis as follows. Ex-UFC fighter Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at a Florida Keys roadhouse, only to discover that this paradise is not all it seems. Here is an original song to support the synopsis.
Roadhouse. Are you a man or a mouse? Roadhouse. Where testosterone is doused. Roadhouse. As dangerous to a bar as a woodlouse or an angry spouse. Roadhouse. Come in for a drink. Roadhouse. And get a black eye. Roadhouse. Don't have to think. Roadhouse. Just be a tough guy. Roadhouse. You won't be disturbed. Roadhouse. By the letter of law. Roadhouse. Just be perturbed. Roadhouse. By Dalton's iron jaw. Roadhouse.
Let's start with some facts about the film. The restaurant next to the bookstore is named the Double Juice, which was also the name of the bar in the original Roadhouse film.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. In a world of reboots, reimaginings, rethinks, prequels, sequels, just plain out plagiarism, I like it when a film just has a little nod to its original source material.
It's a nice homage.
A little one. Not Star Wars, where they bring the same old characters back when they're old dogs and make them have another day at the office. Not that. But a tiny little nod to the predecessor, I appreciate.
That's not the only one. So Sam Elliott's character from the original was called Wade. And the booklet Charlotte shows Gyllenhaal is about a cowboy Lone Star character called Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another little nugget.
Yeah.
There's also another one, if you'll allow it. When Conor McGregor does one of his exceptional line deliveries, he turns around and says, "Be nice." And apparently that's in the first film.
Really?
Yeah.
Be nice. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's two words.
It's probably been in a few films, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of little nuggets like that? Tiny little cookies?
I don't know. I find it a bit fourth-wall breaking. But these aren't glaringly obvious.
No.
They're not glaringly obvious. So I can jive with it. I can jive with it.
You'll
I think
allow
even McGregor has a little self-bip in this, didn't he? The most notorious fighter in the world.
Yeah.
And he was known as the Notorious.
He was, and still is, I believe. The centrepiece of the production was the main Roadhouse set, designed by production designer Greg Berry, and then built from scratch from the ground up. Perhaps the greatest testament to the quality of the construction was the fact that the Roadhouse set, including its thatched roof, withstood the force of Hurricane Fiona, which blew through the Dominican Republic filming location in September 2022. Now,
That's not a set. That is a real building.
if it withstands ponder Hurricane Fiona, get Greg Berry to build up fucking real houses for real peoples in real places that have hurricanes.
We need houses over here, Greg Berry.
Yeah.
Bring that shit over here, because that set you built, mate, it killed me. It made me so envious and jealous. I wanted the sun. I wanted the beer. I wanted it all. Oh, man, I wanted it.
I want Berry to build homes for people so they don't fall apart in treacherous weather conditions. If he can do it for a film, do it for real life people.
Let's be honest, though. That is an open air bar. I don't know if you could live there.
I could live in that bar.
would you? Be a bit breezy around the old kebab.
And I don't know about you, I'm not a fan of sand. I'm not a sand fan.
I don't know anyone that loves sand. That shit goes everywhere with you. You have one day at the beach, 200 days later, and you go to a dinner, there's still sand in your foot.
Yeah.
Or in a sock.
You'll eat a egg mayonnaise roll in the wild and you'll suddenly get a gritty bit of sand in there. And it's like, this egg roll has not been anywhere near the sand.
You've got to get over the egg mayo, man.
I'll never get over the egg mayo.
The hot egg mayo sandwich.
I'll never get over it.
Those people are astronauts.
They really are. Every fight in the film uses full CG body doubles due to the production using a new multi-pass method to do seamless punches and kicks instead of faking hits or cutting around the action to be believable. In every fight, the doubles are stitched into the edit for a few frames before stitching back to real footage. I don't know about you. I was impressed by the fight choreography in this.
Get stuff.
I was.
Fuck off.
I thought the way it was cut, like the punches and kicks, felt something a little different about them.
It looked like a computer game.
I mean, I guess they're using heavy CGI, so that would make sense. I don't know. I've seen so many action films, and I don't know if it was the banging soundtrack that distracted me from it. I don't know, just the fact that it just looked, something about it looked noticeably different from the outset. I don't know, but something about the fight scenes. I think it looked quite good.
I'm the opposite. I think it's proof that new doesn't equate to better. It didn't look right. The reaction from a body getting hit to hitting the ropes and then hitting the floor, it looked weird.
For me, that I included this in the facts because I don't know the specificities. I don't know how it actually works. Even reading the fact, it doesn't like make me understand it any better, but the fact that there is a new process of doing it, and if it's at its infancy and it can be improved on, that's interesting to me. For me, as I say, I've seen so many punch-ups on film that seeing something that looked a little different was refreshing for me.
Well, someone's got to be the first over the top.
Someone has to be the first over the top.
And just for this film, you know, they might remember that soldier that died as he stepped over into the no man's land, but for me,
probably won't.
He won't make it to the opposite trench.
He won't. That's a damn shame.
Yeah.
What did you like about Roadhouse?
I love how they kept the ridiculousness of the original. An unapologetic foray into cheesy and unbelievable. Yeah. Like so many of the 80s films that were out. Like they're cult classics because they're shit, and I'd honestly believe that. Like, you've seen the original Roadhouse. I've seen the original Roadhouse. It was a classic in my house. Everyone loved it. Tight jeans, mullets, combat in a bar where you're looking to just have a beer and listen to music. Guaranteed combat.
Simpler times.
I mean, it's like dressing a caveman and kicking him through a bar. It's mad.
Yeah.
I liked how they kept that crazy. Like the totally unbelievable aspects from it. At first, you know, it could be a true story. You know, there's a tough guy gets offered a job to be a doorman. To go from that, from flying boats to explosions to murders to crocodiles eating people, it was just insane. Conor McGregor's character in this is almost Terminator.
It really is, yeah.
Almost Terminator.
It is that, and the fact it leans into that ridiculousness. It leans into what made those films from the 80s and 90s so enjoyable. No holds barred, ridiculous action is definitely a strength.
It is, yeah.
So many films nowadays, it will be an action film, or it will be advertised as an action film, and then they try to add loads of depth and meaning and heart and really flesh out characters. Sometimes you want a film that is just all thrill.
Yeah, exactly. We had a recent conversation about R-rated movies and how, like, Ricky Snicky has tried to attempt to make it more human, more woke and stuff, and it was a bit like, no, it doesn't work. But with this, I don't agree with it being remade. I didn't really see it as a worthy project, but I enjoy the fact they kept the crazy and ridiculous, and it didn't become an overly sentimental piece of hogwash.
Yeah, if you're gonna remake something that has no business being remade, you may as well make it fun. You may as well have a nod to what it was that made the original Roadhouse so entertaining. Like, I don't think there's anyone that's watched this or the original Roadhouse and are legitimately like, this is an incredible piece of art.
Well, even for me and you to have seen the original Roadhouse is quite unique because it was a 1989 film. So it's quite unique. We saw it. You think this film comes out, it's called Roadhouse. It has Jake Gyllenhaal in it. But millennials would have no idea. I'm sure they wouldn't.
We're millennials, Dad.
Oh, no, what's the one? Zeds?
Gen Zs.
Gen Zs or something.
I think they're the ones.
Yeah, so we're lucky to have even seen it. I had older brothers. You only saw it because you watched it with me with my older brother.
Yeah.
So think of, like, this film. You might as well have just done a whole original film about, maybe not a bar, but some sort of, like, lone ex-UFC fighter defending a little town. Like, instead of Magnificent Seven, you call it OK1 or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably why it exists. As a remake, it exists because there is that younger audience to target. And like you say, they won't know the original film. They won't know that source material. For the rest of us, we'll compare the two. You can't help it.
Yeah, you have to.
Like you mentioned, we watched that film together, and I got to be honest, I copped the right ump when that got put on, because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, we're going to sit here and watch Roadhouse from '89, and like within minutes you can tell it's a cheese fest. But despite that, within 10 minutes in, I was glued.
You're not bored.
I was like, this is absolute madness. Like, this is... I'm judging myself for enjoying it as much as I am, but there is a place in cinema for that. There is totally a place where you can throw something on, leave your brain at the door, and just laugh at it, with it, just enjoy it for what it is.
I'm quite sure the arch nemesis in the 1989 one, let's say it's Conor McGregor's double, I'm quite sure towards the end when they have that fierce fight, I could be wrong, I might be mixing my film ups, but I'm quite sure he says to Patrick Swayze, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
He totally said that.
I wish that line stayed in.
I remember that well.
Conor McGregor would have straight away said no.
Of course.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. He totally strikes me as the sort of bloke that would refuse that.
Bridge Tree. That's my other like.
Bridge Tree. Are you talking of Fred?
I'm talking Fred. I do like the Bridge Tree. And do you know what? When I saw it, I thought, I want to see a Pixar short based on the origin story of Fred, the Australian pine. From bird munching to bird pooing on a bridge to Fred becoming strong. Just a little 3-minute short, animated.
I'd watch that.
Show me a tree grow from a bridge where there be no soil. Yeah. Because it came out of a bird's arse. I didn't know birds could poo trees, bruh.
We are not giving birds enough respect.
They poo trees.
Trees are so important to us as humans.
Yeah.
And they're there scatting it out.
Yeah.
And then trees.
They're the lungs of the planet. So next time you see a pigeon, next time you think it's a pest, be like, no, dude, that dude is growing forests.
And we live a society obsessed with sustainability. These motherfuckers shit their own future home.
Oh my God.
I mean, they won't be alive by the time it's a tree, but their ancestors will, for other birds to live in.
But a society grows great when you lay the seed, when you plant a tree onto which the shade you will never sit under. Yeah. But if you're lucky, someone else might have done it a few years before you, and now you're sitting under a tree of shade.
Yeah.
I have probably never butchered a saying as bad as that.
You got there though.
You
took the scenic route, and you got there.
I took the scenic route.
Give a bird a seed, and it will shit a tree.
Give a bird a tikka masala, and you will counter deforestation.
Give a bird a tikka masala, and you're gonna kill it.
That's probably valid. It's too saucy.
It is too saucy for birds.
That was So, what do you think? 3-minute little short animation of a tree growing on a bridge from a bird poo.
The fact that Fred is a real tree that has an origin story from poo is a great metaphor for, like, you can be bird shit and grow into a tree.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. A great story. And the people of the Florida Keys, that specific area of the Florida Keys, it's like a symbol of perseverance, isn't it? It's a symbol of hope because it's grown in a place where it shouldn't grow, and it stays strong. It withstands the conditions, the harsher conditions, the hurricanes. It's still there. It stays strong. So I think it's a beautiful sentiment. But the fact that it started as shit is an amazing thing as well. And hell yeah, I would watch a little short film about that.
I think Fred's performance was better than Conor McGregor's.
I'd say it's more
believable. Yeah. More believable. And its origin story is more interesting.
Yeah. And I think Fred probably delivered its lines better than Conor McGregor did as well.
Yeah, he did.
Any more likes?
The bar looks exceptional.
Yeah.
It made every fibre of my being cry for a holiday and heat and beer and rock music. I even wanted a black eye at one point.
I'll give you one.
I cried in the mirror that I'm not there. It's just when Gyllenhaal walks into the bar and it's got that open air platform, you can see a cold pitcher of beer on the bar. There's a little rock band setting up. I was just like, and there's a breeze coming through the bar. I do love heat, especially when a breeze comes with. And I was just like, oh man, I'm dying for this. I need to get away to a place like that. Rock music, beer, little bit of heat, happy man.
Heat with breeze is like toast with cheese.
I thought you said heat with brie is like toast with cheese. They both work.
Yeah.
They both work.
But yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to stop me tag teaming on that, because that's something I loved about the film as well, was Roadhouse. The bar itself was beautiful, and I just can't imagine how people go to an establishment like that and decide to have a tear up. The view is incredible, the live music sounds great, the actual bar setup is ideal, and all I want to do is go somewhere tropical and get drunk.
Yes.
Just this beautiful, I could smell it.
I could smell it.
I could smell the sea air. I could feel the sand between my tootsies, which I hate, but I'd still rather that than be in England right now.
Do you know what's mad? I was actually upset that I knew the film now was going to escalate. I kind of wanted to see him sit down and just have a drink and watch the band, because I wanted to live it through him. And when I thought, oh no, the trouble dickheads have come in the bar. I'm like it in real life. If I'm in a bar having a nice chat, having a drink and the music playing, and dickheads coming in, they're loud and they want to rough. But I'm like, for God's sake, I just want to chill.
We do that.
Yeah.
In real life, when we're in the pub together, we could be sitting down having a chin wag and a pint of Guinness and having a laugh, a lovely time, and then you get a group of twats come in and we're like, right, we're leaving because fuck these guys. I would happily sit and watch 2 hours of Jake Gyllenhaal or Jake Gyllenhaal or Jake Gyllenhaal just getting drunk and listening to the music, and like a documentary of him getting pissed.
That's what I'd take.
Yeah.
I'd take that. I got a bit more.
Go.
Now, going into the film, I was a little bit prejudgmental, because from the original, there's a musician in the original whom I love, Mr. Jeff Healey, blind guitarist, plays on his lap, and I thought they're never going to be able to fill that gap. Like, Sam Elliott's character's not even in this, Wade's not in it, and I was like, come on. And do you know what? I ended up actually really liking all the bands they had. I thought they were really unique. They had a really lovely southern twang to them. Really, and I ended up going to look for some of the real musicians and I've downloaded a few of their songs, and I thought, do you know what? No one's going to fill Jeff Healey's boots, but I think more realistic to have a different group every week. But who would actually say yes to that bar? It's got an all notorious reputation. If I was a musician, I was like, I'm probably going to get stabbed, glass broken through the thing. Am I getting paid enough? Does the pub earn enough? With all the expenses and overheads of the damage, they're not taking enough beer. It was never once rammed, that pub, only in one scene, and that's when Conor McGregor turned up.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it from a financial perspective and you're right. Is it worth it? Because you're buying new furniture every other day by the fucking looks of things.
It's ridiculous, unless they're using driftwood and they're really, into their crafts.
Yeah.
Etsy X.
Yeah.
Something.
And I think if you can watch a film like this Roadhouse reboot and take away some new music for your playlist, that's a massive plus. Because who would think you would take anything away from Roadhouse other than an easy to digest 2 hour punch up?
Yeah.
The fact that you've sat there and gone, that music was cool.
It was cool. It was unique. It was original. And do you know what? If they would put like a Taylor Swift in there or like a poppy one, just because it's a remake, I would have turned it off instantly. Yeah, I'm glad it's kept to that sort of bluesy deep south origin. I was impressed with that. Last time, like Mo, the side character of the bad guys. Really funny guy, polite. It's like 25 minutes, depending on traffic, to the hospital. Yeah, I really liked him. It's just a little like.
I laughed a lot at him as his character as well. I thought he was great. He gave me NoHo Hank vibes from the TV series Barry. I love that sort of a new villain arc within film and TV is that you can have a bad guy that does bad things but be such a lad or a gentle character or just a genuine sweetheart that even though he's a bad dude you're rooting for. And yeah, I'd have loved to seen a bigger role for him. Yeah, because I thought he was great.
He was brilliant.
He was great. The thing I liked most about Roadhouse was the fact that I didn't hate it. I went into Roadhouse fully expecting to ruck with it. I prepared myself for a complete mashup of stupid violence, bad dialogue, dumb characters, and clunky exposition. Now, I was delivered all of these things and more, yet I somehow enjoyed it. Now, I love it when a film exceeds my expectations, and despite me wanting to dislike a remake that felt completely unnecessary, I did kind of vibe with it. Roadhouse knows exactly what it is and tries to be nothing more than that. And I respect a film understanding its place. And as a result, I ended up enjoying what felt like a homage to trashy 80s/90s action films.
Yeah, it's not boring.
No.
There's never a point where you're like, I'm going to turn this off. I mean, its ridiculousness can be taxing, but at the same time, you're pretty much always going to finish it because you're like, well, I've got to know what happens.
It's just that. And, you know, we've done some heavy films recently, The Zone of Interest and Pressure standing out as two particularly heavy ones. If you haven't listened to them already, go and check them out. And after that, you do need some fun. The likes of Ricky Stenicki wasn't a great film, but it was oddly welcomed. Bullet Train was welcomed as well. And now this, it just, it's nice to take a break from better, serious films.
Of course.
And just throwing on some trash. On a random Tuesday night with nothing to do, you've run out of TV series or you're not in the mood for that crime documentary, you don't want to tackle a 3-hour drama. Something like Roadhouse is a single-serving film that serves its purpose.
Yeah, you have to like recharge your taste buds. Like you can't always have steak because you'll get sick of it.
And I love steak.
I love steak, but you can't always have it.
I couldn't have it every night.
No.
3 nights out of 7, maybe.
Yeah.
Put a break between the steaks.
Yeah. And then you just need a really cheap, extra saucy, cheesy lasagna. Just come straight out of the oven. Just have that. And that's, for me, that's what these are.
Yeah.
That's what these are.
You did it.
Yeah.
Another thing I liked about it is Jake Gyllenhaal. Or Jake Gyllenhaal. Or Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's actually Gyllenhaal.
It's Gyllenhaal the third. But if anyone is wondering, we did our due diligence on this podcast and we wanted to say, how do you say Jake's second name? And it is apparently Gyllenhaal. Yes. And for years, like most of us, I've been calling him Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal. So there's a fun fact for you if you're listening. You can learn something, so you're welcome.
There you go.
I always jive with Jake. I have a lot of time for genuinely talented actors opting to make a film that just seems like some throwaway fun. And that's exactly what Roadhouse is. Mr. Gyllenhaal got to sink into a dumb, daft and deliciously simple film where he seems to be having a blast. His character Dalton is a badass dude with a moral compass, and it's refreshing to see someone of Gyllenhaal's calibre just kick ass and take names. Now, I love dancing with Dalton dual slaps, designated dickhead driving and douchebag diagnoses, and I found his battle with cartoon caricature Knox to be genuinely entertaining. Now, it's all that for me. I think Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm going to give him all 3 of the names to cover all bases. I think he's a great actor.
He's having fun.
He's having a good
He's on a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
He's gone to the fair. He's like, dude, I need a break as well. I need a little cotton candy.
But we all work for what? Fucking 40, 50 years of our life, don't we?
No, try 65.
Yeah, well, we work. Well, we don't work from birth. Some of us do.
No. But if you live to like what, 90?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, start work when you're 16.
You work a lot of your life. And if you said to someone, every now and then you can have a great 6 months of work where you just don't have to think and you have fun. Every single person on earth would be like, fuck yeah. Why would that be different for an actor? If you've got an opportunity to just have a laugh, get paid really good money, turn up to a beautiful place like the Dominican Republic where this film was shot, and have a great time for a few months, you're not asked to do an awful lot other than learn your lines, get in peak physical condition, which is great to be paid for. And then you can go back at any time and do your serious films.
Well, Gosling did it with Grey Man, and they're both going to be sequeled, this and Grey Man. And I'm like, why franchising these dogs?
Yeah.
See, this is a remake. At least Grey Man weren't a remake.
Yeah.
That I know of. Well, please don't tell me there's some 1980s South Korean film called The Grey Man.
Let's be honest.
Who knows?
Every film is a dropping of a bird at some point.
Oh.
It's all regurgitated. But
True.
Sometimes that shit tastes all right.
Yeah.
And Roadhouse was a shit that tasted all right.
Roadhouse.
What did you dislike about the film?
Pointless remake with an $85 million price tag. I just want to ask Amazon,
wait,
what the fuck are you doing?
What did you just say?
85 million.
They had an 85 million budget.
Yeah. I think they said
What?
at the beginning of the project, I think they said to Doug Liman and Gyllenhaal that you could either have a $65 million budget and a theatrical release, or an $85 million budget and stream it, or just straight to streaming. But it's weird because I know that Doug Liman protested the film for not having a theatrical release, so I can't imagine why he would have said yes if he then moaned that it didn't have a theatrical release. They didn't have faith in this film to not give it a theatrical release, but they gave The Beekeeper a theatrical release when it was supposed to go straight to streaming.
Yeah, and who the fuck's seeing Statham as a beekeeper?
That's what I don't get. I don't understand it. I do not understand it, and that's why I say, what the fuck are you doing? Rings of Power, and now this. Like, who is surveying what people want from cinema? Because it's not this. Be ridiculous, but be original. I don't understand why you're doing a remake, an $85 million remake.
85 million. Give it to an up and coming director with fresh ideas. And if it fails, it's better to have a swing and a miss rather than not swing at all. And that's what this film is. Now, I actually think that it was probably the smart move not to put it in theatres, because I don't see many people paying to go and see this film. I do see a lot more people who have Amazon Prime going, what do you want to watch? Oh, there's that new. Yeah,
but you can do both. You can do both.
Yeah.
You could have just released it, streamed it a month after a theatrical release.
I think it probably would have done. You're right. It would have gone out at the cinema and then inevitably a few months later come out to streaming anyway.
Imagine how Liman feels though, being like a director of say Edge of Tomorrow and stuff, like to not have his film hit the theaters.
Yeah,
like that must. And he was pissed. He was pissed off. Really pissed off.
I can see why he's pissed off, but equally, it's one of those things. Like, other than people that loved the original or fans of Jake Gyllenhaal, they're the only people that are going to go and see this at the cinema. Like, I mean, I've got an Odeon Limitless pass, so if you would have seen it, cinema, I probably would have gone to see it because I'm a fan of Jake. I think he's a good actor.
He's great,
and I've seen the original, and I probably would have been like, on nothing to do at a weekend or an afternoon, I probably would have taken myself to the cinema and watched it. So yeah, who knows?
I did see one critic say, I think they backed out of putting it in the theatres because the CGI was so shoddy that it would have been way too obvious on a big screen. And it is shoddy. The water scenes, the boat scenes, and for me personally, the fighting scene I thought were awful.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've given props to the fighting scenes, and don't get me wrong, on second viewing, you can see that there's computer involvement. You can totally see it. But for me, the actual striking parts did seem a little different, and that's why I gave it some props. That's it. But on a big screen, I think you would have seen it in all its ugly glory, I reckon.
Second dislike, opening scene, some dude just continually hit in the face by who I think is Post Malone.
Yes.
Yeah, continually hit in the face, still standing and doing nothing to protect himself. It wouldn't happen. Sick of seeing it in fight films. You're either going down or at tops taking no more than 2 clean punches before raising your arms. And every fight film wants to do this. I'm going to stand there and take 7 or 8 power hits to the head without protecting myself. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I've watched countless boxing matches, countless UFC fights. No one just stands there and gets hit more than twice in the head without either going down or protecting themselves.
You're exactly right.
It winds me up.
Unless it's WWE.
Yeah.
AEW, WCW, whatever the wrestling things are called nowadays. I sound like an old fart, but I don't know. Unless it's that, you're right. Any fight, 101, protect your face, protect your head.
Protect your head, protect your face, and it's always wound me up. Third one, really unfortunate use of CGI. I mean, we've covered it, but God, CGI in fight scenes looks janky as hell. And I noticed it in the very beginning with characters that I nicknamed Toothless Billy and Big Fat Barry Manilow. That's all I had.
Yep.
Last one, where is Sam Elliott's character Wade? That's it.
You'd like to have seen Sam Elliott come back for this?
Well, he was quite essential to the first film.
He's a cool dude as
well. The idea is that he comes along to help.
Yeah.
You know, to get Swayze a bit of backup. And he was just left out. He was just gone.
He could have come back and been like a barman. Or he could have been like, I used to bounce here, but I've got too old and my moustache has got too long. Yeah.
Sheriff.
Boom.
Done.
And I reckon he would have been up for this. So I'm shocked that he, in a remake, like, obviously, sadly, Swayze's no longer with us. But you could have got, surely, Sam Elliott in for the ride, surely.
Yeah. If there was a Cairns Film Festival award for moustaches, Monsieur Elliott would have won.
Oh, he's there every year.
Every year. Every year, Dad. That's me done on my dislikes. I hope I got my point across. I hope you felt the power.
Always. You are always very good at getting your points across, good sir, and that's no difference here.
Cheers, Pat.
My biggest dislike is I didn't hate it. This is one of those rare occurrences where a like is also a dislike. Now, I kind of wanted to dislike this one so I could be an obnoxious and pretentious wannabe critic, but I ended up being annoyed that I liked it. Yeah, the dialogue is dodgy. Sure, the plot is predictable. The script is short-sighted. Are the action scenes over the top and impossible? Absolutely. Is Conor McGregor an awful actor? Of course he fucking is. The sheer number of people wanting to have physical fisticuffs is beyond feasible. The fact Dalton speaks so calmly whilst being stabbed is stupid. Gyllenhaal's godlike physique made me feel less man and more flan. I could keep going on about the multitudes of nonsense and negatives shown in this one, but despite its many, many flaws, I had a laugh, and I'm glad I did. Or am I? I don't know. I wanted Hellfire hate, but I got light-hearted like.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's really hard.
I find films like it's so hard to review and judge because I'm like, it's made to be silly, but at the same time, there's elements to it that still aren't acceptable to me as a person, as a human being.
My dad, a.k.a. Harold, a.k.a. you, pointed out that the meter parameter, the thing you should use to judge any film is whether or not it's successful in what it sets out to do.
Intention, yes.
And you are completely right. Did this film entertain me? I mean, despite me not wanting it to, it really fucking did.
I think it achieved what it set out to do, but I don't believe in the project. I don't believe it should have been made.
Mate, is it a good film? No. Did I enjoy it?
Yes.
Does that confuse me?
Yes.
So it is one of those tricky ones because I can't. If I was having a drink with you in the pub and someone heard us talking about film, and they said, "Oh, I love film," and they hear that we do a podcast, and they said, "What did you do an episode on recently?"
Would you tell them you did this?
Yes, I would. Yeah, and they was like, "Oh, would I like it?" I'd be like, "You know what? You probably will like it, but it is shit."
I don't know. This is the thing. Is it? It's a 2 and an 8 at the same time. I don't know what's happening.
It's a 10.
I don't know what's happening.
2 and an 8. It's a fucking 10. I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. But I mean, I think, you know, when you weigh up my likes and dislikes, and I'm sure that you will do the same. I think when you consider them all, I think our ratings will fairly reflect when we get to the end of the episode. I reckon. I feels. I hopes.
I have no idea.
No, nor do I really. Another dislike, Conor McGregor. Now, Mr. McGregor chews the living shit out of the scenery in Roadhouse. His turn as cardboard cutout villain Knox was less realistic than the characters I created when I was a child playing with action figures. The way he walks, talks, interacts with others, reacts, acts, delivers lines, all add up to one of the worst performances I've seen in recent times. Despite all of these slag-offs, I oddly enjoyed him. Bad performance, but good fun. Despite this, it has to be a dislike because he is objectively bad at acting. The man walks like he's not a real person.
He walks like he's on an invisible horse and he's got 2 Virginia hams under each arm. I made myself laugh.
You did it. He does. The man's got a great arse. Credit where's credit's due. He's got a peach of a bum.
He gets that dog wax low.
There's not a hair ponder cheek or inside that peach. But
I bleached my arsehole at the weekend.
Yeah. He can't act. You're right, the walk was 2 large glazed hams under each arm.
An invisible horse.
Yeah. Like, it's so ridiculous. But what makes me laugh is that director Doug Liman, who's an established director, probably was just like, you know what, it works. I'm not even going to give you any notes. Conor, yeah, just do that, mate. Like, whatever. I don't care. You're Conor McGregor. You're going to get some bums on seats. You're a fighter, so you're going to do the fighting scenes well enough. Yeah, just do what you like, mate.
Lyman was interested in the film because he said he liked that Dalton was a really gentle and nice character, but lethal. But I was like, yeah, but in his exposition he weren't. He was a really cocky, violent UFC fighter.
Yeah. The thing about his character is his biggest fear is himself, which is cliched as fuck. But it is interesting when you're like, well, I think Dalton as a character is quite charming. He's a cool dude.
Funny. Played brilliantly by Jake Gyllenhaal.
He's great in this. And I think Dalton's a good dude, but when he's pushed to the limit, he's like, he sees red and he can't go back.
Take it to the limit. Sorry.
No, it's necessary. I'm glad you included that. But yeah, I mean, I can't sit here as much as against my best intentions, oddly enjoyed Roadhouse. Conor McGregor's not a good actor.
The guy falls in the middle of an ocean off a powerboat, which is doing about 120 kilometers an hour. That powerboat then reaches land, and within 2 minutes, McGregor has covered 5-6 miles of ocean and climbs up a ladder, and then still manages to locate Yillinghal because he's slightly turned on at the prospect of having met his match in the prowess of the martial art world. Yeah,
he was a gillless shark.
Oh,
that just swam like a beast, caught up with a speedboat.
Do you think he carries a little pouch of gillyweed and just swallows that dog?
I think he probably does. But yeah, I can't sit here and say that he was good because he was hot shit. And the worst thing about it is as well, like, I'm not a big UFC guy, so I know he's well known for what he does, and I know he's a formidable fighter, or he was. But from him as a character, what I've seen, his public persona, I honestly think that after this, he's watched this with his loved ones and probably thought, fucking hell, I'm good. I actually think he's got enough arrogance.
Well, it's more about that he's been asked less than what he sees himself do.
Yeah, like if anyone else, like...
It happened though, didn't it? Like Arnie was a weightlifter. You know, he was a bodybuilder. And his first break into cinema is Hercules in New York is some of the worst acting you're ever seen in your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the worst. And this is Conor McGregor's Hercules in New York. But one day he might be doing a Terminator, a lifeless, robotic character.
Oh, God.
But Arnie played Terminator perfect because he couldn't act. Like Bloom plays Legolas perfectly because he's an emotionless, non-sexed elf.
Yeah, I mean, you are not wrong. Even though McGregor's shit in this, he's going to get more films.
Yeah.
And there's going to be directors that are going to be like, I can make him do more. It's like, no, just let him fight other people. Leave it.
I want to see him play a paraplegic florist.
I mean, Hollywood as it is at the moment, he's probably fucking walking away with an Oscar.
He ain't walking.
He's wheeling away with an Oscar for that performance.
Boom.
Yeah. My last dislike is just our local is nothing like the Roadhouse. After a few years of living closer together, Harold and I have become regulars at a local drinking establishment.
The Checkers.
We have had a little shout out for the Checkers there. You're welcome. You say you listen to our podcast, but we don't fucking believe you. We have had many a great night putting the world to rights with a pint of the black as our compass. But never has nor never will our local drink hole have the ocean view, the live music, the favourable weather, nor the aesthetic appeal of the bar shown in this film. And that saddens me so.
God, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Shit, man. It's true.
I mean,
we live in an overpriced, really condensed. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's green. It is a pretty part of England, but it's a rat race here.
It's village vibes. And we've had some great, memorable nights of laughter and tears in our local pub. But I would say if our local pub was local bar was the bar in the Roadhouse, we would have more highs than lows, because imagine that's the backdrop.
Dude, we'd have different clothes.
Yeah.
We'd have a little white or black vest underneath a really nice Hawaiian shirt, a tasteful one.
Yeah.
Tasteful one with jeans and some nice open toe sandals. I don't even know if that thing exists.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice little straw trilby.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be Guinness every night either. There'd be little umbrellas and margaritas things happening and stuff. Oh, it'd be so nice. Oh, man, tacos, chili Mexican lime fish taco or something.
Shit.
Shiza.
That'll get me there.
Shiza.
I've got some questions. In your opinion, what are the top 3 remakes?
All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. Even though it is not a film, it has to be mentioned. He took Bob Dylan's original and made it infinitely better. My man's a music man. When I say top 3 remakes, if he wants to throw music in the mix, he shall. Yeah. The Mealy Hoover 2000 series. I'm joking. Right, I was like, really? John Carpenter's The Thing instead of The Thing from Another World, which is the 1951 film. Yeah. They're both based on Who Goes There by John W. Campbell, which isn't a great book. It's down there to your left. It's a blue book. Who Goes There? Oh, shit. I see it. I see it right now. Yeah. So they're based on that. But his thing is the greatest thing ever made. He's got that and thing. Ever will be. They even tried to remake it with the female lead in 2000 and one of them shit years for film. Elizabeth Mary Winstead. It was so crap. The essence of the thing is trust. It boils down to who can you trust. And in the latest rendition of the thing, there's a huge fucking gangly Peter Crouch thing running around. Love you, Crouch. Sorry, didn't mean to use you in such a derogatory term. That's all I got, mate. That's all I got. I'm not a fan of remakes.
I mean, they're good answers. The Thing is one of my answers.
Is All Along the Watchtower one of your answers?
I wish it was, no.
Okay.
I'm not as cultured as you, Father. My other two answers is Dune and The Departed.
Dune's a good one.
But I only think Lynch's Dune doesn't work as well as Villeneuve. I mean, Villeneuve is a better director.
It's extremely outdated.
I mean, let's be honest, but the technological advances work in the modern film's favour. Of course it does.
Yeah, my only beef with Villeneuve's Dune is he made it 2 films. She should have just done 1 film Irishman length.
Yeah.
You know, the story's done, but apparently he's going into the next ones. And yes, I know there's Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, but they weren't half as good as the first Frank Herbert book. Don't even go there. Don't even go there, mate. It's like when they remade The Hobbit, not you, the audience, Adam. Right, okay. It's like when they turned The Hobbit into 3 films. That was a complete cash cow. Mm-hmm. Complete cash. Don't lie to us. It's a kid's book.
Yeah.
It's a kid's book. Yeah. I don't know where I'm blacking out.
Are you okay?
Fuck.
You seem troubled,
That was a great shout, Lou. Great shout.
Yeah, thank you very much. And The Departed. Now, I have seen Infernal Affairs, but it was years ago. I can't remember it that well. I think the highest praise I can give The Departed was that I didn't realise that it was a remake of a film that I've already seen when it came out. I watched The Departed and enjoyed it so much as its own thing. Then heard it was on Infernal Affairs. I was like, oh shit.
Don't you think if the title differs, but the story's sort of Magnificent Seven Samurai? So they are different.
Yeah, I suppose.
Same story, same thing.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So, yeah, I think you're probably right there. In a dust-up between the 2 Daltons, who wins? Patrick Swayze or Jake Gyllenhaal?
Gyllenhaal, because Swayze, even though he's always been had a very athletic build, he's not bulk.
Yeah.
He's not bulk. He's dexterity. He's like Anderson Silva, the Spider UFC fighter, versus like someone like Stephan Bonner, like the weight class. Like there is a chance Dalton 89 could win.
Now,
but I think Gyllenhaal physically.
I think if we were talking actors in their prime, real people, Gyllenhaal is kicking Swayze's ass every single day of the week, twice on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I think characters, Swayze's Dalton, lest we forget, pulls a throat out of Jimmy, his arch nemesis, who told him in no uncertain terms that he fucked guys like him in prison.
Yes.
He pulls his throat out. And for that reason, the characters, I think Swayze Dalton wins because he can do something physically impossible. Mm-hmm. That's my only reasoning, sir.
Yeah. Yep. And Gyllenhaal takes a lot of damage in this film. A lot of damage.
He does. You open a pub that becomes popular almost immediately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this popular pub soon attracts the wrong sort of crowd, and it's kicking off every fucking night. Which actor are you hiring to bounce your beer hole?
Dead or alive?
Anyone you want. Peak. If they're dead in their peak, that's fine. Can be metaphorical.
If it was dead, I'd take Bruce Lee, because he is actor and fighter.
Yeah.
If it's alive, do you know what? I might have to be a bit cheap here, and I might have to take some fighters turned actors. I might go to Quentin Rampage Jackson.
I mean, you are smart for that.
Or the George St. Pierre, who was in Winter Soldier, I think. He was in one of the Marvel films.
Okay.
He was a world-class, unbeaten sumo guy. Not sumo, jiu-jitsu. But Quentin Rampage Jackson with his body slams, man. I used to love watching. They were the golden years of UFC for me.
Yeah.
But they've both turned actor. They have done some acting. So technically, I can have them guys.
That is a smart move, and I wish I'd gone with that approach because mine's just size. Yeah. I'm going the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Now, he is a strong man in real life, and he does box. His name is Hafbor Julius Bjornsson, and I've 100% fucked that up, so apologies.
He's from Iceland, isn't he?
I believe so. And he's called the Mountain for a reason, peoples. He's a big old fucking unit, and he would be my guy.
Yeah, but
you protect my bar.
You throw a little Schmeagol-sized crackhead sket on his back with a little blade, his day's over. He gets Boagrius'd hard.
He doesn't have the flexibility probably needed for a rowdy bar. Mm-hmm. But I just I don't know. It'd be if you're coming into a bar to cause a problem and you see the fucking Mountain there, you're gonna think twice.
Baby, think twice. Can't help it.
What would you rate Roadhouse out of 10, please?
Oh my god, this is so hard.
The big question.
This is so hard. Being a film fan of really meaty tomes, really exceptional, beautiful films, but also being a bit of an 80s baby and going into 90s. This is such a hard one for me. I might have to go dead down the mid because it's a 2 and an 8 at the same time, so I'll just give it a 5. Just give it a 5.
That's fair.
I don't know what to do, Ads.
That's fair. Listen, another day you might have bolstered that dog up to a 6 or a 7. Another day you might have dragged that dog down to a 3 or a 4. It's one of those films. I think it depends. It depends the mood you're in and the day you watch it when it hits you.
I think so.
For me, I've gone a bit higher, and for all the reasons in my likes, for the fact that I wanted to dislike it, but ended up vibing with it and laughing more than I ever thought I should. And the fact that it exceeded my expectations, I really thought this was going to be hot shit. 7. No, I've gone 6.
Oh.
I've gone 6. Because like you, I fucking love cinema. I love really well thought out, well made films. This is well made, but it's not groundbreaking. It's not something that I'll be like, oh my God, have you seen the new Roadhouse? Stop what you're doing. Go and watch this film. But equally, I can't say I wasn't entertained for a couple of hours. So that's why I've gone 6.
It's not boring.
No, it's not. That gives Roadhouse a total score of 11 out of 20. If you like your remakes to be dumb, fun, and full of yum, or if you've ever wanted to see a bar brimming with brawny brutes beating on beefcakes because they are baddies that like to battle on beer, then Roadhouse could be a film for you. Roadhouse is available to stream on Amazon Prime. Consider watching this one if you enjoyed the original Roadhouse, Bloodsport, and Point Break. Shall we play a game?
Give it a name, give it a name, give it a name now. We birth a plot and then make a trailer. What the plot?
Action!
It's possible watching Roadhouse that I might have been influenced. Mildly. A small part of me.
A mild influence is fine.
Just very mild. The corner of influence. So
I think I'm going to title the film that, whatever it is.
Please.
The corner of influence.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Go on, hit me.
Character. Rude Schneider. Okay. Rude Schneider is I'd say a 40-year-old man. He's a Dutch man. Every morning he goes to this little cafe in Amsterdam and he gets a black coffee.
Man of my own heart.
And a Stroopwaffle.
Oh, they're banging.
Little caramel waffle thing that gets pressed down and it all melts. And what you do with these Stroopwaffles are you put them on top of your hot mug of coffee.
God.
And the steam softens the middle, makes it a bit gooey, and then you eat it.
You're going to make me come.
This is his ritual. He does it every morning. He goes and sits in. He's a very quiet man. No one really knows him. Goes in, he has the black coffee and he puts the Stroopwaffle on top and he waits a allocated 30 seconds per turning or a minute per turning to get it just to the right consistency of how he likes to eat it. British stag do enters cafe.
Oh, they're the worst.
They are the worst. They enter the cafe. They're rowdy. He ignores it. He ignores it until he can't ignore it. They bump into him and knock his coffee and Stroopwaffle off the table. He doesn't react, but rather than apologise, they just laugh and cackle. And then they knock into an old woman behind. That part irritates Mr. Rude. And he stands up and he says, apologise. In English. He speaks perfect English, but he's a Dutchman. He says, apologise. They just laugh and then someone bottles him. And he falls to the floor and they just leave. They grab their little bags of weed and their Heinekens and they just get out of the pub and they go. And he's staring at the Stroopwaffle on the floor and the steam from the spilt coffee. What these boys don't know. And he assumes, actually, I'm going to add this in, he can assume by their build and the sort of way they hold themselves that they're probably all police officers, mates that work in the London Met. So they're a bit tough.
Okay, so they're not your scrawny British bunch of mid-20s. No. They can obviously handle themselves.
Yeah, it's like a little training day nucleus of British police officers that have gone on a really nasty stag in Amsterdam because they still think they're the law, even in Amsterdam. Anyway, what they don't know about Ruud Schneider is that he's ex-special forces in the Corps Commandantropen KCT, which is the Dutch SAS. He can't get over that his Stroopwaffle and coffee has been spilled. He lives by routine, much like you. If you fuck with this man's routine, you've overstepped the mark because he's got post-traumatic stress from whatever he's done. You know, he might have served in Iraq, he might have served in Syria or something. Routine keeps him afloat, keeps him level. Cognitive therapy behaviour, whatever he does. He now goes on this neon-lit, prostitute-laden, drug-fueled town manhunt, essentially. Neon lights. He watching them at the strip shows and stuff, he starts picking them off one by one, all because he didn't get to enjoy Stroopwaffle. He's breaking necks. He's choking them out. He gets one in a whorehouse. And you know what? They start to realise that their mates are getting picked off one by one, and then they bro up. They brute force, and it becomes more of a rumble in Amsterdam. But it's brutal, it's bloody, it's disgusting, and it all happened because of Stroopwaffle.
Now I'm sitting here opposite you, and I know some people be like, oh, "Come on, mate, it's just a delicious baked good." I want him to make them suffer because just because they're drunk and on holiday, don't fuck with this man's routine.
No, but they're rough. They're nasty guys.
He's keeping himself to himself. He reminds me of Denzel Washington's character in The Equalizer. He's got his set ways. He's very proper. He's got his routines, and if he sees people being twats, he takes matters into his own hands.
Maybe he trails them after the Stroopwaffle incident, and he sees two of them go into a prostitute's window, and they're actually really rough with her because they're coppers. They just think, oh, it's us, yeah, and they're all white. They're Met. This is bad. If you're a Met police officer, please don't take it personally. It's just a joke, but they're all white.
I mean, history suggests that some of the Met police are dickheads, so I don't think we can get arrested for saying that.
Maybe, yeah, he does his research, and once he sees her roughing up a pro, that's when he does really intervene, and he puts his special forces training to the task. But can you imagine, like, what an action thriller would look like in Amsterdam if you've ever been there? The lights, the atmosphere, the vibes. It's already quite a scary but exciting place.
Yeah. No, I really love the idea of someone with a sort of shady past. For whatever reason, he just lives now a quiet existence, and he's got his little routines. And I now really want, even though it would make me really unwell because I can't digest wheat, I really want a Stroopwaffle and an espresso.
Yeah, you do.
I'm there in my head. I want that. And if someone bumped into me and I was a physical presence, I'd want to be like, "Oi, fuck you." I would want to kick off as well. So I'm here. I'm fully on Rude's side.
Maybe he sets a timer for the Stroopwaffle. He's so precise with everything.
I like that.
Just like,
and that's because he's tested.
Oh, the clock.
He's tested. He's gone 40 seconds now. It's too cold then. He's gone 20 seconds now. Not right.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
He's seen shit.
Yeah.
He's seen shit.
I like
It's a bit Gran Torino, isn't it, really?
But with Stroopwaffles.
With Stroopwaffles and a Dutchman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really like that. I see this as being a revenge thriller, but with heavy undertones of dark comedy, because you kind of have to be. He's killing people because of a baked good. Yeah. It has to have some humour in there.
Yes.
But I think when it gets to the violent parts, I think the audience are almost shocked. They're like, oh, fuck. Like, I was laughing, but that's a bit much. Oh, that's nasty.
I was like that in Roadhouse, though.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot that it was quite brutal, the original, I suppose. I just thought it was a fun fighting film. And it's not, man. People getting stabbed and shot and hit over the head with logs and frozen in and eaten by alligators and stuff. Yeah. Man.
It's a bit much, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I as I say, I'm a big fan of someone with their routine, and then the consequences of that routine not being respected. I'm here for that. I'm connecting with this more than I probably should, but I like
Pitching tent.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of this. In terms of casting, unfortunately, off the top of my head, I can't think of a Dutch actor.
I don't think there are many, not since Rutger Hauer.
No, I mean, there probably are loads of very talented actors that the Dutch people know very well, but unfortunately, me as a Brit boy, I don't know any. But when you say a European vibe, I'm seeing Daniel Bruhl from Rush and Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, nice.
I like him. I think he's a cool guy. He impresses me. I've seen him in a few things. He's a good, solid actor, and I think he would really excel with this as this character who's very regimented with a dark underbelly. So I'd have him as
because he just lead. All he needs is English-speaking European accent.
Yeah, so I see him as Rude Schneider. Like I like him for that.
Rude.
In terms of director, I'm going Ruben Östlund, the director of Triangle of Sadness and Force Majeure.
Oh, perfect.
I think he would do dark thriller well. I think he could handle violence well. He looks at that sort of fragility of the human psyche really well in those films. So here on one hand you're going, oh, this guy's over a bit dramatic over a Stroopwaffle and a coffee, but then it's also looking at he's a man suffering with PTSD. He's not right, he's not got the help needed, so you are adding a serious element to a almost laughable subject matter.
That's amazing actually that you've chosen him, because when you look at them, both of them films that he's done, He's so clever at making divide really obvious.
Yeah.
So in Force Majeure, doesn't the husband just abandon his kids during an avalanche?
Yeah, there's an avalanche. The dad sees the danger,
Yeah.
bolts past his family and legs it to safety.
Yeah, amazing divide in morals. And then in Triangle of Sadness, it's equality of money and all of that stuff.
Well, in Triangle of Sadness, exactly, on the ship, the rich reign supreme, but once they're shipwrecked, they got no transferable skills.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, so him directing, I think, would be a really interesting thing. And for a title, now I think initially you're gonna tut and sigh at this, but let it land a little bit. The guy's called Rude, and I would call the film "Don't Be Rude" with a double
spell
spelled as his name's spelled,
like
so it's
Rude
saying,
Hullet.
Yeah, so don't be rude, as in don't be a dickhead, and also don't be like this guy. If someone knocks over your espresso, maybe don't kill him.
Don't Be Rude is a great title, and usually I know sometimes that's it. I ask you to tie it up, or you ask me to tie it up. But do you know what? Something came to me while you were talking, and I just want to say it would be a terrible name for a film, but it did make me laugh. Red Light Biscuit.
Aha!
Instead of District.
Oh,
tie it up, Dad.
Oh. Up here, but now I kind of want it.
No, Red Light Biscuit.
Red Light Biscuit is superb, but I'm going to stick for mine because I came up with it.
Yeah,
but
of course,
I mean,
Don't Be Rude's much better.
Full disclosure, I'm a man who enjoys a pun, and Red Light Biscuit is fucking brilliant. Excuse me, I've got a baking history. Why don't we take out a loan, go and open up a bakery in Amsterdam and call it Red Light Biscuit?
That's amazing. Shit. What if someone steals this now?
We've patented it.
Done.
You can't touch it.
Touch.
So yeah, to tie it up, I would have Daniel Bruhl starring in this Ruben Östlund directed thriller, dark comedy, European revenge flick, and I would call the film Don't Be Rude. You've seen Taken. You know what it means to have a unique set of skills. Well, I have them skills. I am a simple man. I like simple things. Get a beers in! Fucking hell, Dave, I know it's your stag do, but you got to get at least one round. Come on. Get your wallet out, mate. We've paid for everything. Oh, hello, darling. Can we get 4 pints, please, sweetheart?
Nice tits.
I have my routines. When people don't respect them, I react. Don't mess with my Stroopwaffles. The new film from Ruben Östlund, director of Triangle of Sadness and Force Majeure, starring Daniel Bruhl. Don't be rude.